Whether it's for blasting your favorite songs or for communication or navigation. And it doesn't matter if you use it in the car or maybe on your bicycle or any other means of transportation. Chances are your smartphone is your central hub in life, and probably you want to have access to it as much as you can. That's what smartphone mounts are for. But there's two big names on the market, Quadlock and SP Connect. Over the last couple of years, we used products of SP Connect and Quadlock a lot. In this video, we want to talk about the differences, what the products can do quite well, where there's room for improvement, and all the information you need to know if you're wondering, should I buy a Quadlock mount or an SP Connect mount? So stay tuned. Quadlock, based in Melbourne, Australia, had its start in 2012 as a Kickstarter campaign for smartphone mounts for bicycles. Today, they claim at least to be the global leader everywhere for smartphone mounts except in Europe, because there's SP Connect. SP Connect, the mother company, got founded in 1988 by an Austrian in Germany, and they are still since then producing snowboard bindings. But since 2016 they are also producing as SP Connect smartphone mounts and are quite successful with it. Both companies produce in China as far as we could get details about that. So the stories are quite similar, or the goals at least are similar, to dominate the smartphone mount market, but there are a lot more similarities, but also quite a lot of differences. And that's where we're going to delve into differences between the mounts, between the phone cases, and between the systems of mounting themselves. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the locking mechanism itself. SP Connect by now has two generations of it on the market. They call it SPC and SBC Plus. The differences are, apart from the different shape, is that SPC Plus is also compatible with the magnetic mounts because it has magnets inside, and also the counterparts are in the mounts themselves. More about that later. But the functioning of the locking mechanisms is still the same. Basically, we have a moving piece here in the middle, so the second counting from the middle, and the counter pieces are on the mount themselves, and they lock into they kind of get under the most inner piece of the locking mechanism on the phone case, and you put it on the mount and you twist it 90 degrees and it's secure. The difference to Quadlock is fitting to the name. We have four mounting points or points that get locked, that the mount locks into. It's a bit differently shaped. The outer side of the phone case locking mechanism locks onto the outer side of the mount head itself, and you put it not 90 degrees but about 45 degrees, and then you twist it 45 degrees back and it's on. Major difference is that, of course, you can mount the Quadlock because it has four sides and you don't have to twist it 90 degrees. You can also put it in the horizontal, can also put it on the horizontal position without changing the mount itself. It doesn't matter, just put it on, put it on, twist it in the direction you want, and you have it vertical or horizontal. Because of the 90-degree twist required for the SP Connect, it doesn't matter which direction you go, it's always vertical, and for horizontal mounting you need to change the head itself. Another thing that changed is between the generations, regarding the first generation of SP Connect, which we had for a long time. If you mount it and then take it off and you are in a hurry and maybe already pull a bit at your phone, then the locking mechanism doesn't reset fully to its starting position and you can't put it on again. That's why they sent some stuff like that, this little piece here with it, which you could put on, twist, and it's back in your neutral position. The new SPC Plus system apparently doesn't have this problem anymore, so you also don't get a thingy like this one before. Generally speaking, both can be quite hard or a little bit fiddly to get onto the mount. If you don't hit the holes correctly, then you can be that you fiddle around and search for the locking mechanism. Generally speaking, I would say SP Connect, although it contradicts me now, but SP Connect is a bit more easier to find. Quad lock can be a bit more fiddly, especially because it has this security latch on the mount. So you can do it without pressing it down, but as I said, it gets more fiddly. And also for taking off, you have to press the security latch down and then you take it off and it's done. Despite these small differences, it never ever happened in all those kilometers we used both products that a phone got loose or even flew off while riding around, even on tough terrain. And the best evidence probably are the many YouTube videos out there where you see people having huge tank slappers with a mounted phone on their handlebar and still the phone remains there. So I think you can say about both the systems, they are, once your phone is locked in, very sturdy and very reliable. After the mounting mechanism itself, now we're going to talk about the things that are in the center of this video, the mounts. Quad lock and SP Connect offer a big variety of those, but now first we're going to take a look at the montage of the base mounts, so to say, the ones that go around your handlebar, for example, and which system is easier to mount on your bike or your motorcycle. So we call these ones the base mounts. Why? Because both Quad lock and SP Connect come from the bicycle market. They first produced bicycle mounts, which are very similar to this mount, which is actually not for the bicycle but for the motorcycle, but the system is almost always the same throughout most of the mounts of Quad lock and SP Connect. There are slight but quite important differences between Quad lock and SP Connect. First, you always get an imbus key when you buy a mount. Quad lock uses a 3mm imbus key, SP Connect a 4mm imbus key. Also, they have a little bit different sizes of how big the handlebar can be, so the mount still fits. And also, they always have a pro version of a mount and a non-pro version. With Quad lock, we have the mount pro and only the mount. With SP Connect, we have the mount pro and the mount light. I'm going to explain the differences shortly. The not pro mount of Quad lock fits across handlebar in the diameter of 22mm up to 32mm. The pro mount extends that up to 35mm. SP Connect is a little bit smaller, so it fits from 22.2mm up to 31.7mm in the Pro version. There's no exact measurements or data for the light version. To have a little bit more variability while clamping your mount onto your handlebar, you get these differently shaped these rings in different thickness. There's also a difference between the non-pro and the pro version. For example, here with Quad lock especially, you have an even surface on the non-pro rings and for the non-pro mount, and then you have those little, I don't know what to call it, little mountains, and here the fitting holes next to it, so you can you prevent that the ring twists and rotates between the handlebar and the mount itself. So that's a neat little feature. SP Connect doesn't have it like that. Also, you can see quite a difference in the materials. The non-pro version is plastic, while the pro version is CNC, and it feels a bit heavier, more solid. The mounting itself goes similarly. So what are the actual differences when mounting Quad lock or SP Connect? It's very similar. First, you choose the fitting ring for the diameter of your handlebar. Here I would say Quad lock has a slight advantage because it's true, you get especially if you have, like on the GS, very limited space, you get the clamp easier onto your ring because the Speed Connect ring only has one side, like a curb, let's call it curb. So you get it easier on, but especially if you have handlebars that are not the same thickness throughout, so it gets thinner or thicker, and then you start tightening the clamp, it can happen that the clamp just pushes itself off your ring because of the not straight sides. Here, Quadlock has a slight advantage, I would say, especially in the Pro version. In the non-Pro version of Quadlock, because you have two curbs on your little ring, it can be, again, with little space available, it can be quite hard to get the clamp onto the ring, but once you've done that, at least it cannot push itself down again. The best of the two worlds, or the best solution, in my opinion, has the Pro Quadlock ring, because here you get it fairly easily onto the ring, the clamp, because it has no curbs. But once it's on, and because of those little mountains here and the holes in the clamp, it just stays locked together, it stays in place. You cannot push the clamp off your ring. It's just the easiest to fix on your handlebar. And then once it's on, you can just adjust the screws in the middle to find your position. Remember, you need enough space so you can put your whole phone on it and then twist it to mount it. But the system is always the same, and it's a system that can just be where parts can be exchanged, and you can individualize and refit it with different parts according to your own preferences. For example, here you can see it, that's the anti-vibration module, more about that later, but you just exchange the mounting part on the top with an anti-vibration module and still use the rest of the mount. It's the same with Quadlock, just Quadlock chooses to put the anti-vibration mount in between your normal mounting point and the clamp, so instead of exchanging it, you just put it in between. You have to unscrew and tighten again more screws on Quadlock than on a Speed Connect, but that's a slight difference that you won't have to face a lot of times. There's even more advanced stuff like magnetic mounts and charging mounts, wireless charging mounts that fit onto those mounts. So there's really a lot of options for customizing your mounts, both with Quadlock and a Speed Connect. Okay, now we have the details for the basic mounts, as we call it, but now we have to talk about the huge variation of different mounts there is from Quadlock and a Speed Connect. Already just for the motorcycle, there's a ton of different mount versions, even very specialized ones. For example, this one here, where you can just put it into your, I think it's called handlebar clamps, and fix it like that. Or there's also an option from Quadlock, for example, where you can put it in your steering head bearing, also with the options for different sizes of steering head bearing. So you can really find the proper solution for your bike. There's even one which my colleague Howie used a lot for your steering fluid container here, so you can find the perfect spot for it. Also on other vehicles, there's a ton of mounts for the bicycles, there's a ton of mounts from the roll cage to your windscreen with a suction cup, or even for your AC vents, there are mounts for your car. So if you do not see what you're looking for in this video, maybe give the websites of a Speed Connect and Quadlock a chance. There you can really scroll through and we'll see there's a ton of options, especially if you then start combining the different kinds of mounts there are with the different kinds of heads. We have anti-vibration modules which you can put on. We have even the combination of anti-vibration module and wireless charging head from both a Speed Connect and Quadlock. So there's a lot of possibility for personalization here with the different mount solutions. After the locking mechanism and the mounts themselves, we have to talk about the next component, the phone cases. Quadlock offers the specific phone cases for the companies Apple, Apple iPhones and iPads, then Samsung Galaxies, Google Pixel models and Huawei. A Speed Connect offers it for Apple iPhones but no iPads, Samsung Galaxy, Google Pixel and Xiaomi instead of Huawei. And then in addition, both companies offer like universal cases for phones that are not included. They both offer, for example, locking mechanisms that you can glue on or stick onto your phone. But then in addition, SB Connect is a bit more creative with those universal solutions. They also have like a clamp mount or a clamp locking mechanism, or even like a bag, a universal bag where you can put your phone in, which has the locking mechanism on its back. Quadlock, in addition, for both actually, the magnetized or the cases and mounts with the magnetic functions are getting more and more important outside of the motorcycle market. On a motorcycle, they do not quite provide enough hold for the rough conditions and the rough ride, but you get nice gimmicks with those magnetic cases. For example, Quadlock offers like little colored rings so you can personalize your case, or even wireless battery packs you can just put on the back and it charges your phone on the go. We measured the standard cases of the phones in thickness and in weight. They are very similar in weight, with the Quadlock being slightly less heavy. It's 46.85 grams on the Quadlock and 46.93 grams on the SB Connect. On the other hand, the SB Connect is slightly slimmer or less thick. This one adds just above 3 millimeters to the thickness of your phone, while the Quadlock case gives 4.97 millimeters, adds that to the thickness of your phone. With the magnetic cases, it's 4.20 millimeters in addition to the thickness of your phone. The materials of the cases themselves, seems like a quite durable rubber plastic, and on the inside we have this soft lining. Of course, they are robust. They have to be, which is a nice add-on if you drop the phone, if you're just walking around. My damaged case is the best evidence for that. They can take a pounding, but your screen is not protected, and especially on motorcycles, if you have bad luck like I did, you can get a stone on your camera lens and then it is in need of repair. But for that you really need bad luck to happen. But what is a commonly and often discussed topic regarding damages to your camera in combination with smartphone mounts is regarding the camera stabilizer. One of the most known and most discussed issues between smartphones and their mounts on vehicles is the damaging of the camera stabilizers. The high quality cameras of now the smartphones struggle with strong and especially high frequent vibrations, which is why SB Connect and Quadlock developed anti-vibration modules. And now I'm going to explain how they work and what are the differences. The anti-vibration module of SB Connect is integrated or fused together with a basic mounting point. It has a soft ring around the mounting point and then a rubber base which can move a little bit underneath. If you put your phone on, you need a little bit of strength to get it on, and then you twist like you do with a normal mount. It's quite firm, the fit of the mount with an anti-vibration module, so there's quite a lot of resistance. The phone doesn't move a lot by itself, which feels quite nice and tight. It's a little bit different with Quadlock. Quadlock chose a different approach. They did not include the anti-vibration module into the normal mount, but it's separate. It's also sold separately, so you can buy the anti-vibration module, which is this piece here in the middle, and integrate it into every kind of Quadlock mount there is, just between the mounting point and the rest of the mount. It works like that it has 3 little rubber mounting points on the side, and then these hooks that keep everything together. It needs a lot of less strength to get it into the mount, but because of many freely moving pieces, there's a lot more flexibility, or it also seems at first glance a little that it doesn't have a lot of stability, but we never experienced it that something would fly off or that it wouldn't hold. Of course, the issue, it should prevent that the high frequent vibrations go from the engine of the motorcycle, for example, or if you're going off-road with a bicycle, that those do not transfer into the camera, into your sensitive camera stabilizers. We ourselves had in our editorial staff this issue, because especially iPhones are quite susceptible to those damages to the camera stabilizers.
I've been using Apple phones since the beginning. I think my first one was the 3GS back in 2010, and my first phone paid by company for was the iPhone XR. I used this with SP Connect at first without the anti-vibrant module, and then with it. And after a period of probably 5 to 6 months, I think we can show the footage, all my stories began to be shaky. You can see like small lines going through the images, and after that I switched to a new iPhone because they have the same optical mechanical stabilizing feature. It's a 13, and I've been using it for 2 years now with quad lock, also with the vibrating module from the beginning, and it never happened that there's anything wrong with the camera. So in my experience, the quad lock anti-vibrating tool is more advanced and prevents failures from happening.
How many kilometers did you ride with your XR before it broke, and what kind of surfaces were you traveling on?
Most of the time was on road. It was on an Africa Twin. I did a big tour of 3,000 kilometers, and I used it before that, probably also another 3,000 before the problems occurred. And with the 13 on the quad lock, I did even more, and so I tested both, and also on different bikes. I had a high revving 4-cylinder Z900 Kawasaki, I had an Africa Twin, I had a KTM Super Adventure, so a lot of different bikes, and yeah, so that was my experience with those two products.
I think what we have to emphasize now is that we're not saying beware Apple users with SP Connect mounts, your phone is gonna break, because there's too many factors that have an influence on the whole process. Which bike are you using, or which bicycle, and what terrain are you traversing through, what kind of phone do you have, what kind of camera stabilizer does your phone have. There's so much that has an influence on it. We are just now stating our experience, and maybe it was even our own mistake. We're just saying one phone broke on SP Connect, which is also, you could say, the older version of the mount, 2020. Now we have the SPC Plus, which is in its basis still the same, like you still have the soft ring and the rubber base, but there can be small developments, improvements that have a big effect that we cannot really now examine properly. So we are now just stating our experience, and that was that we had no troubles with quad lock. So we've talked about the locking mechanisms, about the mounts, and about the phone cases. The last question that remains is, how much do I have to pay for one of these sets, for quad lock or SP Connect? The price is actually quite similar in most cases, most mounts. For example, cases start from 30 euros for both quad lock and SP Connect. The standard mount, so the one that goes onto your handlebar, starts at 50 euros. Quite similar. There are a few differences, about 10 euros mostly with, for example, the charging heads or also the mirror mounts, but more or less it stays the same. The biggest and only notable difference really is with the anti-vibration modules. The quad lock anti-vibration module, which is made out of plastic, costs only 17.99 euros, so almost 18 euros. And the SP Connect, which is a lot more made out of more expensive materials, I would say, it costs almost double that, 30 euros, from 30 euros onwards. So that's the only big difference, and that's kind of also the theme for the overall conclusion. Because if you were expecting a really clear and decisive conclusion, X is better than Y, I have to disappoint you. There are too many factors playing into the whole smartphone mount while being on a vehicle, while being on the way. There are too many factors that play into that, and therefore you have to take your phones, your vehicles, and the way you want to use you have to take that into account. If I can give you some directions, which is the goal of this video, then probably if you say I want to use my phone multiple times and switch between vertical and horizontal position, then Quadlock maybe is better for you. If you say I want a phone mount which I can find easier, maybe with just one hand, and I like the feeling that it's a bit more stiffer with not so much wiggle room on the mount, then maybe a Speed Connect is better for you. But in truth, you have to see what do I have, what do I want to use it for, and then check out the hundreds probably in total of different mounts and accessories you have going with the system of Quadlock and the Speed Connect, and then decide which provider has the best solutions for me. But nonetheless, I hope the informations and details in this video were quite useful. Keep it in your head, start checking out what different products there are on the market from Quadlock and Speed Connect, and I'm sure you will find a suitable solution. If we haven't covered any points, if you forgot something, then please write your questions into the comments. Also, altogether, you out there as a community gathered million times more kilometers on the road and with smartphone mounts than we ever could. So also write your experiences into the comment sections so this video gets even more useful information. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and I say thank you for watching. See you next time. Pfiat euch and Baba. Oder am Fahrrad oder auch. Ah, fuck, das ist so, das ist mein Problem, dass das muss schnell gehen, weil sonst. Oder am Fahrrad. Das gibt's doch nicht. Wieso finde ich das nicht? Ich bin zu dumm. Go by car. By bike. Bicycle, to be more precise. Ich hasse dich einfach. Bicycle or any other means of transport. Motherfucker.
Anche per farsi giri in bici, per esempio. Oppure sulla bici, che sia per navigare, ma non solo. Ci siamo. Nah, come on.